Let's talk about multiple sclerosis. You've probably heard the name, but for so many people, it's a disease that's really shrouded in mystery. It's a condition where the body's own immune system, its defense system, actually turns on itself. It wages this silent, invisible war inside the central nervous system. So, what is really going on in there? This right here, this quote really just hits you. I'm half healthy and half terminally ill. It perfectly captures the heart of what it's like to live with MS. Imagine that feeling of being caught between two different worlds, one where you feel fine and another where you're dealing with this chronic illness. That duality is what makes this invisible battle so incredibly hard. And it's where our story begins today. Okay, so to really get a handle on how MS messes with the body, we have to start inside the main command center itself, the brain. Its unbelievably complex wiring is what lets us think and move and feel, and it's right there where this whole battle unfolds. So your brain is kind of split into two main parts. You've got the gray matter, that's the part that does all the heavy lifting, the processing, and the thinking. And then you have the white matter, which makes up a whopping 60% of your brain. The best way to think of it is as the body's information superhighway. And it's on this absolutely critical highway that the battle of MS is fought. Every single nerve in that white matter is kind of like an electrical wire. And for a signal to zip from your brain to your hand in an instant, that wire needs really good insulation. Well, in our nervous system, that insulation is a fatty substance called the myelin sheath. It is absolutely essential for a fast, clean, and clear connection. And this image, man, it shows you exactly what we're talking about. On the left, you see a healthy neuron, all neatly wrapped up in its myelin insulation, letting those signals travel perfectly. But on the right, that's what happens in MS. That protective myelin gets damaged. It gets stripped away, leaving the nerve fiber all exposed and vulnerable. So what in the world is causing this kind of devastating damage? Well, this is where the story gets really wild. It's not some outside virus or bacteria. The body's own immune system is launching the attack. It's like a biological short circuit. The key word here, the thing at the very heart of MS, is demyelination. It's a targeted attack, a tragic case of friendly fire, where the immune system gets confused and tragically mistakes that healthy myelin for a dangerous intruder and just starts tearing it apart. And this is the moment where that tiny, microscopic damage suddenly becomes very, very real. When those electrical signals traveling down the nerve get scrambled or blocked, it triggers this whole cascade of physical symptoms, everything from spasms and pain to a loss of coordination or even slurred speech. And here's the really crucial part. This isn't just a temporary problem that can be easily fixed. As this quote lays out, over time, the damage actually goes deeper than just the insulation. The nerve fiber itself, it's called the axon, can get permanently injured and even lost. And that permanent loss is what ultimately leads to long-term disability. You know, for the longest time, this whole internal battle was completely invisible. There was no way to see it. But now, thanks to some really incredible leaps in technology, doctors can basically become detectives, uncovering the evidence of this war being waged deep inside the body. So how do they do it? I mean, how can you actually see the signature of demyelination happening inside a living person's brain? Well, they use these amazing MRI scans to hunt for what are called lesions, which are really just areas of damage. For years, the focus was all on lesions in the white matter, because they're relatively easy to spot. But the thinking is changing. We now know that the gray matter gets hit hard too. And this damage, while it's a lot harder to see, is actually a much better predictor of the physical and cognitive challenges a patient is actually facing. And our ability to see all this has just evolved like crazy. I mean, we started with conventional MRI. But now, the clinical gold standard is the much more powerful 3T MRI. And in the world of research, there are these unbelievably powerful 7T magnets that are giving us a view into the brain we've just never had before, especially when it comes to that tricky-to-see gray matter damage. So with all this new power, it's not just about spotting damage anymore. It allows scientists and doctors to hunt for specific biological signatures, telltale clues that are like a fingerprint at a crime scene. They confirm with almost total certainty, yes, this is definitely MS. Okay, check this out. One of the absolute coolest signatures is called the central vein sign. It's a brilliant piece of diagnostic detective work. We know MS inflammation kicks off around these tiny little veins in the brain. So when an MRI reveals a lesion with a small vein running smack dab through its center, it is an incredibly strong sign that the cause is MS. It gives doctors a huge level of confidence in the diagnosis. All right, here's another powerful clue: the paramagnetic rim lesion. I know, it sounds super complicated, but here's the deal. Paramagnetic just means that the iron inside these immune cells is weakly attracted to the MRI's magnet, and that attraction makes them show up as a dark rim around the lesion. It's basically forensic evidence of a smoldering, chronic attack, a smoking gun that is very, very specific to MS. So we have the science, we have this incredible technology, but why is all this detective work so critical? Why does it all matter so much? Well, it all boils down to one single thing: getting a certain diagnosis and getting it early. And that right there is the modern mission of MS diagnosis. Get it right and get it right away so that therapy can start as soon as possible. It's about slashing the rates of misdiagnosis, and it's about seeing MS for what it truly is: not just a collection of symptoms, but a biological process that we can actually track with these advanced biomarkers to guide the best treatment. Look, if you remember one single thing from all of this, let it be this quote right here: the damage from MS, the pathology, it often begins long before a person feels their very first symptom. And that's why these advanced tools are so revolutionary. They give us a window into the disease before it becomes obvious, which is when we have the absolute best chance to step in and do something about it. And all of this brings us to a final, really powerful question. We're getting better and better and better at making this invisible battle visible. And as our diagnostic tools become even more precise, you just have to wonder, how close are we to stopping the battle of MS before it ever truly begins?